Democrats have to reintroduce themselves to people in small towns and rural areas, has to reintroduce themselves to non-college voters who are more numerous than college-educated voters, and has to understand how those voters became disaffected, because all of that is necessary for the party to prevail. And I think that's, if you're worried about democracy, you should root for that. And one of the dangers, Madeline, today that we face, one of the things that bothers me and haunts me, I mean, there are a couple, but one of them is, and they're related. Technology is churning at such a rapid rate, and it's creating a great deal of change and a great deal of anxiety. And then we have social media, a specific kind of technology, and the business plan of these media platforms is to keep people online, and their insight is the way you do it is through fear, outrage, anger. And they have enough data about all of us to know what it is that would cause us to be fearful, angry, resentful. And they shove us into our silos so that we're deeply, deeply divided. Democracies are designed to move slowly when we're divided. So you have this caustic mismatch of change that's coming more rapidly, and division that makes that projects a sense of futility.
Hi, I'm Janice, and I am co-founder of Jews United for Democracy and Justice, as well as the America at a Crossroads weekly virtual town hall series. If you like this video, don't just watch. Head over to our website where you can subscribe for early access to new programs, see our upcoming schedules, and participate in our weekly live streams. You can also connect directly with our guests live on Zoom. Head over to JewsUnitedForDemocracy.org. Thanks for watching.
I have to pray that democracy survives, but I also know that democracy needs to show that it is able to function, or that those who support it need to or believe in it and believe in government need to show that it can function. The big argument that the Chinese make as they travel around the world is that the experiment of democracy and liberal democracy is spent, and that democracies are not agile enough to deal with the challenges of the 21st century or seize the opportunities of the 21st century. And, they are helping to contribute to that by cluttering our social media space with provocations to try and turn us on each other.
But if everything is based in economics, as you posit and many do when it comes to elections, and the tariffs are going to be bad economically for a lot of Americans, including Trump's voters, is that something that do you think will actually turn it around in any way?
Yeah, no, look, I think that I don't think Trump is playing he's playing a strong hand, but he's not playing it very well or shrewdly. These tariffs were a disaster. They're trying to find a pole to slide down. The question is whether they can slide down far enough and fast enough to avoid an economic catastrophe. I think one of the reasons he wants to pass these tax cuts is he thinks that it will be a countermeasure to try and keep the economy from collapsing. But tariffs do not lower costs. Tariffs raise costs. They could also induce a recession. His tax bill is going to add $4 trillion in debt. Bond markets are very nervous. That could be a catastrophe. Meanwhile, the world is turning away from America because they don't think America is a reliable partner. I mean, the people put their money in American treasuries because they thought America was the safest place to be. But now they're beginning to question that. So there are a lot of things he's doing that can have really deleterious impacts, and that will have an effect. I mean, there's no question about it. And we can bring that case. We might even win an election that way, but we lost 90% of the counties in this country in 2024. And there are two things about that. It's hard to, when an inside straight all the time when you're playing poker. And the second thing is, if Democrats are going to ever be competitive and get a decent number of United States senators elected, you can't walk away from 90% of the counties in this country. So it goes back to the point I made before, which is Democrats have to reintroduce themselves to people in small towns and rural areas, have to reintroduce themselves to non-college voters who are more numerous than college-educated voters, and has to understand how those voters became disaffected, because all of that is necessary for the party to prevail. And I think that's, if you're worried about democracy, you should root for that. Democrats have to reintroduce themselves to people in small towns and rural areas, and has to understand how those voters became disaffected, because all of that is necessary for the party to prevail. And I think that's, if you're worried about democracy, you should root for that.
Thank you for joining us. Join us again next week. Next week, Larry Mantle will be talking with David Ignatius about foreign policy. And I will see you soon.